There is a show that's happening. It's just down the street at Il Montori. It's a hip-hop against police violence show that we encourage you all to come out to. And we want to remind you that there is going to be a follow-up meeting on Saturday, February 27th at the same location to follow up from the forum. So if people are interested in plugging in, there's already a number of ideas and suggestions that have come up for follow-up. We encourage you to come there again. That's February 27th. And finally, there is a wall where people are encouraged to write different suggestions or ideas for the forum. Right around the corner from the check-in desk, there is a suggestion box. And continuing from yesterday, we're going to have a speaker's corner. Today it's just going to be here during the break next to the sound table. So if there's anybody who has anything that they would like to say on camera, that's your opportunity, so you can check in after this workshop is done. So I think that is everything in terms of notes that I wanted to mention. So we have an amazing panel of speakers here this morning, and it's a real honor for me to get to facilitate. I'm going to keep my words brief. I want to give as much space as possible to these folks who are here. My name is Nora. I work for an organization called Cactus, and specifically for a project called Basés, which is a trans health outreach project to low-income trans people throughout the city of Montreal. I might share a little bit of stories from my work as well, because I really think it's important that voices of trans women are heard here in this space when we're talking about issues of gender and police violence. But there's a lot of other issues that we need to get into as well. So real briefly, I'm just going to read off the bios of the people who are here with us today. I'll start here at the end. Ellen, I hope this bio was okay. I don't even know if you got a chance to give me the okay on this, but Ellen is the president of the Quebec Native Women's Association. She's been there since October 2004. She advocates on behalf of Aboriginal women so they may gain their rights back in the wake of sexist policies coming from the Indian Act. This work includes assisting women to carry their messages to provincial, national, and international levels. Ms. Gabriel was chosen by the people of the Longhouse and then her community to be a spokesperson during the 1990 Oka crisis, which involved protecting the pines from the expansion of a 9-hole golf course in Oka. She has traveled across Canada to The Hague in Holland, to Strasbourg in France, to address the European Parliament, and to Japan. In her travels, she has worked to educate people about the 1990 events in her community and to sensitize the public on the history, culture, and identity of Aboriginal people. Jessica Yee is a self-described Indigenous hip-hop feminist, reproductive justice, freedom fighter, 23 years old and two-spirited from the Mohawk Nation. Jessica is the founder and executive director of the Native Youth Sexual Health Network, a Can-American-wide organization working on issues of healthy sexuality, reproductive justice, cultural competency, and youth empowerment. She is a strong believer in the power of the youth voice, and you can see her activisting it up on sites like the CNN syndicated racialist Indian Country Today, or pick up her recently released book, Sex, and Youth, Colonization, Communities of Color, and Sexuality. She is the 2009 recipient of the YWCA Young Woman of Distinction Award, a 2009 role model for the National Aboriginal Health Organization, and was recently named one of 20 International Women's Health Heroes by Our Bodies, Our Blog. Anna Louise Crago is a longtime sex workers' rights activist and fighter for decriminalization of sex work. She coordinates outreach work at Stella, Montreal's by and for sex worker group. She has also worked with sex workers to document physical and sexual violence by police, military, or paramilitary against them in Southern Africa, Congo, DRC, and Central Eastern Europe. Many of these stories are contained in publications available online: Rights Not Rescue, Arrest the Violence, and Our Lives Matter. Dolores, too, is here speaking from the South Asian Women's Community Center. She was born and raised in India. She is a founding member of the South Asian Women's Community Center, which was founded in 1981. She has been involved at the SOC as president, vice president, and now as a treasurer and as a volunteer in various capacities. She is a historian by education and has done research on the lives of women under British colonialism in India and the construction of gender identities under colonialism. She teaches at Marianopolis College, and all her activities and interests revolve around social justice activism with a focus on gender justice. And we also have Marty Singh, who is a PhD student in English at the Graduate Center at the City University of New York. Her work focuses on the connections between gender, queerness, illness, incarceration, and active resistance to HIV/AIDS. When she's not working away on her dissertation, Marty volunteers with AIDS Community Care Montreal and with the Prisoner Correspondence Project, as does Kristen. I'm sorry, I don't have your bio here. So we have an amazing panel. Before getting started, it's been highlighted before, and I think it's important that we do this at the beginning of all of our events and actions that we hold here in Montreal. I just want to acknowledge that we are on occupied Indigenous territory, and I think that this is something that we need to continue to reflect upon and engage in all of the work that we are doing, and it is incredibly pertinent, of course, today when we're talking about gender and police violence. I've prepared a number of questions for the panelists today, and so rather than speaking longer, I think I just want to get into the content, and I'm going to invite, I guess starting with Ellen at the end, if that's okay with you, the panelists to introduce themselves a bit more and the organizations that they work with.
That's what you get when you sit at the end, then you start first. Sego hat konorados, katitagos ninjats, tano ganyato. Ganyaka again, do the tanogana sagaga, aganagare. The tinorados, Sungwaya dituti, Oyasuni Sarata, Yunganagana, Stanchum Sata, Tano, Nanahotanguavis, Nota, Sohuni, Tano. Tisagwandi, what's out in a gapa, Tonanegonos, such as Sarah, quite Sarah, Caminhava de Descongarava, Saúde Serada, de Iguatar and Igari. So thank you very much for inviting me. My Mohawk name is Gatsitagwas. I come from the people of the Flint. This is our territory that you are on. And I am Turtle Clan from the community of Ganasadagi, where I live. I work for Quebec Native Women's Association, and I've been there for 6 years now. I also wanted to say that I thank the Creator for this day, for allowing us to live another day on beautiful Mother Earth, and all the beautiful things that we have to survive on this beautiful Mother Earth. Quebec Native Women was created in 1974 by grassroots women's, Indigenous women's organizations within the communities, because of the fact that when they married, they were lost their status and they were no longer allowed to live in their communities. It has evolved into a human rights advocacy organization, which just last July received ECOSOC status in the United Nations. So it has grown quite a bit. We have a range of files that we work on, from concerns of the youth, justice and public security, promotion of nonviolence, women's shelters, employment and training, and just human rights in general for Indigenous peoples. We tend to look upon trying to improve the lives of Aboriginal women, which would then improve the lives of their communities and their children. We have a lot of work, and we are never idle. On a daily basis, we are solicited constantly by various organizations, but we have to work with government, and in that respect, we have no choice. But it also gives you an idea of the levels that government will sink to in promoting their agenda. So it can often be a very challenging job. We are part of the Native Women's Association of Canada, but we are an independent organization that receives its mandate from its members at its annual assembly. So that's my organization. Thank you.